This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Turn on that TV because today we're going to be running our own television network. We're going to be hiring stars, developing shows, putting on advertisements, trying to make things in the right time slots. Today we're looking at The Networks. This is from Formal Ferret Games, designed by Gil Hover for 1 to 5 players, takes 60 to 90 minutes to play. Let me show you. At the beginning of the game, everyone gets to pick which network they want to be, sort of a color and a name, and you get your own player aid. Now this player aid is cardboard, it's nice and thick, and you get some starter cards to get going. So you flip over the player aid and you take the cards. 3 of them are going to be shows, they're all equally bad to start off. And you put your shows in the different time slots. You have 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Different types of shows. This one's like a reality show, this is a sports show, different types of shows here. Everyone starts with an advertisement, which will be getting you money over the course of the game. And you have stars, which will be getting you points. These guys and girls all stay in the green room until they get attached to a show. Now here's the board set up for about 4 players. In the middle of the boards there's scoring and season trackers and stuff. Below there are the different shows that you'll be able to pick up and develop. Above the board we have advertisements, which are going to give you different dollar amounts, and stars, the ones that we just talked about. Let's take a closer look. Now going in turn order, which is random at the beginning of the game, rounds after that it's going to be whoever's in last place will go first and all the way down. There's a bunch of different things you can do on your turn, but you're only doing one action. One of the things you can do is develop a show. That's essentially paying for a show that you want to develop and place into your specific time slots. Now you'll notice, again, these have different time slots. These are the ones that they are better at. So for example, if I'm able to put this show in a 9 p.m. slot, the first season I'll be able to get 8 points. If it's not in that slot, I would get 5 points. And similarly, this one is the sci-fi, 9 if it's in 8 p.m., 7 if it's not. After the first season, it doesn't matter which time slot it is, but you'll notice that in these two, they're very good at the beginning. This one actually gets stronger in the second season, then dives off, where this one gets a little bit weaker and then dives off. So all these have sort of different attributes to them. So let's say you go ahead and you buy one of these. Let's say we buy this one. So we would spend the 1 million. By the way, money is chips or cardboard in this game, which is great. Everyone starts with a certain amount of money depending on their turn order. And then what we could do is we're going to put this in the 8 o'clock slot. So we will take this show and sort of put it into rerun. So we flip it over and we put it into the rerun section. This will get us points at the end of this season. And we'll place it here. Some shows have an absolute necessary to be able to attach to the show. This needs an advertisement in order to go. Well, I have an advertisement. So when I'm placing a show like this, I can immediately attach this advertisement to it. This is essentially going to get me $1 million, but this show is actually going to cost me $1 million in upkeep, so we're going to be about even right now. So this means I needed to attach one of these. Some of the other shows that you might be able to get, say this one, you can have a star or an advertisement and you can attach it right away, but it's optional because it's gray. Some of them absolutely need 1 star to be attached. And if you don't have a star in your green room waiting, you can't get it. You need to get that star first. So some of them you have to be careful about which one and what order you do things. So that's developing a show. By the way, all the shows start with a little cube on the top that tells you which season they're in. That helps you with scoring later. Because at the end of the round, these will all age. Now remember, you're only taking one action, but another one you could have taken is sign a star. So in this case, you would pay the amount here, 3 million or 5 million or 1 million, and they would go in your green room for now, but you could attach them to a show later, and they're gonna help you get certain points during the specific season. This guy's pretty, average at best, and then he goes down, but he's only 1 million. This guy gets better, and then slowly gets worse, and this one stays pretty consistent. Some of them have specific things, like this one says, rotate unless this is the only star in the show. So if he's the only star, you'll get these good points. If he's not the only star, you'd have to rotate this, and usually that's less points. Some of the stars out there say, things like, hey, rotate if this show is a sitcom, right? So basically you have to remember which shows you're putting these ones on. Some of them are better with other genres, and so on and so forth. Another action you possibly could take is getting an advertisement. Similar to the stars, you'd pay the amount there to get the advertisement. It would go in your green room, but then when you attach it to a show, you'd get a certain amount at the end of each season. But again, some of these are like, hey, we rotate unless the show's sports. So if it's sports, the sneakers are going to do good thematically. They're going to get me $3. But if it's not, it's only going to get me $1. So again, you want to be careful as to what you're getting for which shows. So maybe on a previous turn, we did buy this guy for $5 million. He's going to be the only star in the show. So for 8 action, you can take a star or an advertisement and attach it to a show. Now, for example, this one doesn't have a star. So I'll put this one here, and you'll see that, yes, this season, we're going to get these points plus the ones from the stars. Now, this says I can only have 1 advertisement. I needed one to start it, but I can never have more than 1. Stars, I can do whatever on this one. So that's basically attaching something, attaching a star or an advertisement to a show. Now the cards that do come out here are specific for the season or season range you're in. These are specific for season 1. Next round there'll be season 2 and 3 cards that come out. Now the last thing you can do in the first season is basically drop in budget. What you do is you can basically say I'm dropping out, and you go here and that says basically you'd get $8 million in cash. The next person will get 7, then 6, and then 5. So the earlier you go out, the more money you get. And after everyone has dropped out for the round, that would be the end of the round. Now at the end of the season, everyone does income and expenses first. So we'd go through and look at all the income and expenses. Now we probably would have some better shows here at this point, but here this is 1 million upkeep, 1 million upkeep, but I get $1 million. So basically I owe $1 million. I'd have to pay $1 million to the bank. If I didn't, I have to pay it in points, which are viewers in the game. After we do income and expenses, we then score. So again, this is in the right time slot. So I'm getting 9, 10, 11, 12, a total of 12 for that one. And I'm getting 1 for my reruns. I'm getting nothing for here because these shows are terrible. So and this is just used to help, add up your points as you're going through. And then you take this amount and add it to your score that's on the main board. And that scoreboard on the main board kind of goes all the way around. And if you pass 100, essentially, you'll end up getting a chip to tell you that you're over 100 or 200. Then everybody would age their show, so they move the cube down. And so this next round, actually, this one actually got stronger in both star and. So this one's going to do really good, and then it's going to pretty drop off a cliff a little bit. So I'm going to want to plan so that not this season, but next season, I'm going to probably want to try to replace this if I can. Obviously, get better ones here. And then we would basically set up for the next round. And set up for the next round, we would flip this over, because that's only used during the first round, because now when you go out, you get more money, or you can take viewers, which is basically just points. And now the scoreboard actually finishes out like this. All these cards would get to the bottom of their piles, and you would put new ones out. And it would tell you how many of each card you put out that are new, and this changes depending on the amount of players out of there. You notice network. This is the one action we didn't talk about because you can't do it to the second season, so everyone would continue doing things the way they did before, but there's a new action called network. So these network actions that you can take, it's just like taking any other action. It'd be your only thing for the turn, but you would take one of these cards, and they have different things. This means it gets done automatically. This, like right away. This one says, hey, you can do it 1 time per game at any time. This is, hey, it's end game scoring, and this one's, it does it all the time. So for example, hey, if you get this one, you could draw a star and keep it for free, 0 million. This one is, hey, 1 time per game, you can play this during a show to say it's on its preferred time slot, even if it's really not. This one, at the end of the game, you score 2 viewers for every show in one genre of your choice. So you could sort of, get one genre and specify on that one, or just, home in on that one. And some cards all the time, spend 1 million less every time you develop a show. Now, some of these cards have these are advanced cards. You can either add them or not to the game. They add a little bit more layers of strategy. There's also different cards called which are interactive, which are more like, they have some take that mechanisms. They're a little bit more interaction between the players. Like, hey, when a player plays in a card, you can pay that player $3 million to immediately take it. Things like that. And as these get gone, each round, they basically run out just like all the other cards. The last thing I want to talk about is genre bonus. If you get 3 or 5 of the same genre show, and that's in your lineup, or even after this, because your reruns after a season will go into your archives, and that's basically to show you what genres you've done. If over the course of the game you ever have 3 in your lineup or in your reruns or archives, you'd get 5 viewers, which is 5 points. That's big. Plus, you can either draw 3 stars and keep 1, or draw 3 ads, keep 1, and get the money from the other 2. Now, if you get your 5th, you get to do that same thing, but instead of doing one of these, you can, if you want, draw 3 network cards and keep 1. So trying to work on a similar genre a lot over the game gives you a lot of bonus points and a lot more actions. Now, you continue doing this through the 5th season. After the 5th season's over, everyone will then score 1 more time. No income and expenses, but just score points. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. Now there is a variant for 2 players where both players' icons would go there, and when the blue player goes, he would move here and automatically put the green player on top. Then when the green player goes, we do the same thing, and then when the blue player goes again, we cross this network card. So basically every third turn, we would burn a network card. We would take one off the top. We would look here. This means we remove the show furthest to the left in the lineup. We remove the network card furthest to the left, and we do this drop, which basically means we'll take that and we will cover up when the round is ending. So it basically makes it feel like there's more players. After one player actually does get out, this goes here, which means every one less every second turn they're going to be burning. So it does sort of scale the game for 2 players. There's also a 1-player specific game, and what happens is you burn, as we just showed you, but after every turn, and if at any point you have to burn something that's not there, you place one of these on the turn order, and if this ever gets full, essentially you lose the game, and you have to get a certain amount of points by the end of the game to be able to win. All right, well, there is the networks. Now, I do love this theme. Even though I pretty much never watch TV, I like the theme of trying to put different shows and stars and such. And it's what gravitated me towards this. A game came out last year called Prime Time I was all excited about, but it didn't fit the bill. This one does. This is an excellent game. I love how it's very streamlined. The mechanisms, the rules are simple. It's like you're either developing a show and grabbing a show, but you might need to get some stars or advertisements first to put them on there. You're trying to slot them in the right, hour. You're maybe going off and grabbing some of those special ability network cards. It's very simple mechanically, but I love it because things are thematic, where some of the programs, I love how some of them are like really strong right off the box, and then they just fall right off a cliff after the second season. Some of them are like pretty steady throughout the whole time. Some of them actually get like stronger in the second season and then decay, and I love how they have these different things. I also love how some of the advertisements are very thematic, like the sneaker ones that I showed you that, they're awesome if the sneaker one's on sports, but if they're not on anything else, it's like worth nothing. And I just thought that's awesome that there's a lot of theme in this game, thematic things make sense, and I really love that in my Euro games that I like. It was easy to play, quick to play. With 2 or 3 players, you're looking at, about 60 minutes. 90 minutes probably is about right for the higher player counts, possibly a little bit longer. The 2-player game actually is very good. There's a variant that I mentioned there where you're burning cards. And people don't like having like robot things, but I liked this. I think it felt like a 3-player game with a 2-player game because it gave you the tenseness of cards are getting eaten up by other people. And even the solo game, I don't typically play games solo, but I did try this one and I enjoyed it. It actually felt similar to the 2-player game but now you're getting stuff burnt every round. And it was fine. You're trying to shoot for that 1-point score, and I still enjoyed it. It was fine. So if you like solo games, I think this one was done well. I like trying to get that genre bonus where you're trying to, solidify certain things and getting those bonuses. I like some of those special network cards. Everything about this game I liked. I'd say the only thing I didn't like, and this is a little quibble, is, you put cubes on the card and you age them. They're very easy to get knocked over. And almost every time you attach something to a show, you lift it up and the cube slides off. And usually you remember what season you got that in, but once in a while you might be like, oh crap, was it in the 2nd or 3rd season? And you gotta work it back. I really wish there was a different way, like some of those little, not paperclip, but those things that kind of slide onto a card that then you can slide down. I thought that might have been a better solution than the cubes. It really bothered me, but that's a nitpick thing and it's not that big of a deal. I still like the game a lot and I highly recommend it. So if you're looking for a Euro that has great mechanics, heavy theme, but isn't a brain burner mechanically, but has a lot of depth and is a lot of fun, then this is one I would definitely recommend checking out. And I liked it so much, I am keeping it in my collection, my gaming library. And for that, let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.